He is known for being a disciple of Ammonius Hermiae and Damascius, and being one of the last Neoplatonists. He is recognized for writing extensively on the works of Aristotle and other authors, preserving valuable information about earlier philosophers. He is Simplicius of Cilicia, the last great philosopher of pagan antiquity. Simplicius of Cilicia, a disciple of Ammonius Hermiae and Damascius, emerged as one of the last great Neoplatonists of his time. Living in the early 6th century, he found himself amidst a tumultuous era of religious persecution under the rule of Justinian. As a pagan philosopher, Simplicius faced tremendous adversity and was compelled to seek refuge in the Persian court to escape the clutches of oppression. However, fate eventually smiled upon him, and he was granted permission to return to the empire. Despite not being known for his original compositions, Simplicius's intellect and immense knowledge shone through his extensive commentaries on the works of Aristotle and other esteemed philosophers. His writings served as a treasure trove of information, preserving valuable insights and teachings from earlier philosophers that would have otherwise been lost to time. Simplicius's dedication to his craft and his unwavering pursuit of wisdom established him as the pinnacle of pagan antiquity, leaving an indelible mark on the philosophical landscape for generations to come. In the realm of astronomy, Simplicius of Cilicia, like his predecessor Aristotle, held the belief that mathematics, as a superior science, provided the axioms and explanations for subordinate sciences such as astronomy. He saw mathematics as responsible for justifying and explaining astronomical phenomena, with the superordinate science knowing the causes while the subordinate science dealt with the facts. Simplicius, however, had a different perspective on the relationship between mathematics and physics than his contemporary Philoponus. Philoponus argued that a mathematical argument related to physics could be invalidated by the limitations of physical reality, rendering mathematical principles less applicable in the physical world. Simplicius vehemently disagreed with this view and called for an unrestricted application of mathematical principles to physics, particularly in the field of astronomy. He believed in the importance of deductive reasoning over induction and advocated for a seamless transition from physics to its mathematical principles. While Simplicius, like Aristotle, assumed the geocentric model where the Earth was at rest in the center of the universe, he deviated from the Aristotelian concept of transparent, uniformly rotating hollow balls attached to celestial bodies. He recognized the advancements presented by Ptolemy but did not consider his model to be the final solution. Simplicius acknowledged that none of the previous theories offered a satisfactory account and explanation of planetary motions. In his own theory, he proposed an axial rotation of all celestial bodies and did not view their circular movements as homocentric. Simplicius also made a distinction between two types of natural scientists, the physicist and the mathematician. The physicist, or natural philosopher, sought to understand the nature of celestial spheres and heavenly bodies qualitatively, exploring causal connections. On the other hand, the mathematician, including astronomers, approached the same subject quantitatively, relying on arithmetic and geometrical reasoning without delving into causal explanations. Simplicius believed that the natural philosophical, or physical, approach was the scientifically profitable one. He encouraged astronomers not to settle for mere hypotheses or rules of calculation but to develop a well-founded physical theory as the basis for their work, capable of explaining all observed phenomena. Simplicius of Cilicia's philosophy on astronomy emphasized the importance of mathematics in understanding the celestial realm. His rejection of limiting mathematical principles and his call for a comprehensive physical theory continue to resonate today. By recognizing the power of deductive reasoning and the need for a holistic approach to scientific inquiry, we can navigate the complexities of the universe and seek to unravel its mysteries with a deeper understanding. Simplicius reminds us that the pursuit of knowledge requires both rigorous mathematical analysis and a profound appreciation for the underlying principles that govern our physical reality. Simplicius of Cilicia, a renowned philosopher, challenged Aristotle's view on the nature of the universe. While Aristotle believed that the universe could not be localized because there was no reality outside of the spherical sky, Simplicius disagreed. He argued that the circular motion of the celestial sphere implied that the heavens were indeed in one place. Simplicius identified the flaw in Aristotle's reasoning as the inadequacy of his definition of place. Aristotle defined place as the boundary between an enclosure and an enclosed, essentially a two-dimensional surface. According to this definition, the uninhabited heaven could not have a place. Simplicius questioned whether enclosure meant enveloping from the outside or penetrating what was contained. Both interpretations led to contradictions and absurdities. In opposition to Aristotle's concept, Simplicius put forth his own understanding of place. He believed that place was not a hollow space or an immaterial body, but rather a material and extended reality that affected all parts of a thing in place. Place was not merely an accident or a property of something, it was an extended essence, a vessel that played a significant role in the world order. According to Simplicius, place was the measure that assigned each body its place and determined the relationships between them. It was not a passive container for objects but an active force that shaped the structure of the entire cosmos and each individual thing within it. Simplicius's philosophy emphasized the importance of place in understanding the interconnectedness and order of the world. Simplicius's perspective on the ontology of place offers valuable insights for our daily lives. It reminds us that the spaces we occupy are not mere containers for objects but influential factors that shape our experiences and relationships. Just as place plays a crucial role in the structure of the cosmos, our physical and metaphorical places shape our interactions, emotions, and overall well-being. Simplicius encourages us to consider the significance of our surroundings and how they contribute to our understanding of ourselves and the world around us. Simplicius of Cilicia, a philosopher deeply influenced by Aristotle's teachings, found himself engaged in a philosophical battle against John Philoponus. They held opposing views on the nature of the universe and its eternal existence. Simplicius, like Aristotle, believed that the universe had a finite spatial extent. He staunchly defended the Aristotelian doctrine of the eternity and indestructibility of the cosmos, which stood in direct contrast to Philoponus' Christian beliefs that embraced the concept of a temporal beginning and end of the world. Philoponus presented a compelling argument against Simplicius' position. He claimed that if the world had no beginning in time, an infinite number of days must have already passed. According to his reasoning, if an infinite number of days had already occurred, the present day could never have been reached, as it would have marked the end of an infinite succession of days. Philoponus' argument posed a challenge to Simplicius' understanding of the universe's eternality. However, Simplicius countered Philoponus' argument by emphasizing the nature of the past. He argued that the past years, belonging to the past, no longer existed. Therefore, there was no need to traverse an infinite number of real, existing units to reach the present day. Simplicius' perspective aligned with Aristotle's rejection of traversing an actual infinite, as it went against their understanding of potential infinity. While Philoponus' argument had persuasive power within the framework of the Aristotelian system, which only admitted potential infinity, the question of whether an infinite past is logically excluded outside of this understanding remained open. The controversy surrounding the possibility of an infinite past persists, highlighting the ongoing philosophical debates surrounding the concept of eternity. Simplicius' exploration of the eternity of the world not only brought him into intellectual conflict with Philoponus but also holds relevance in our daily lives. It prompts us to contemplate the nature of time and existence. By questioning the limits of our understanding and engaging in philosophical discourse, we may gain a deeper appreciation for the complexities of the world and our place within it. Simplicius of Cilicia, a prominent Neoplatonist philosopher, found himself engaged in a fierce battle of ideas with the Manichaeans, who espoused a dualistic worldview. The Manichaeans believed in the existence of an independent principle of evil, which they saw as the cause of all bad things. Simplicius, however, staunchly defended the Neoplatonic monism, which held that there is only one basic principle, the one, from which all beings originate. In his efforts to refute the Manichaeans, Simplicius argued that the concept of evil has no real reality. Instead, he viewed it as a deprivation, a lack of good. According to him, everything bad can be explained as a lack of good rather than an independent nature of evil. Simplicius aligned himself with the Platonic and Aristotelian belief that all striving is aimed at something good, and that no one willingly desires something bad in itself. For Simplicius, wrong decisions and wickedness in individuals are the result of a lack of insight rather than an inherently evil nature. He saw these moral failings as a consequence of straying from the intended good and useful goal. Even if there were something inherently bad, Simplicius argued that it would still act for its own benefit, which is ultimately something good. He found the Manichaean belief in an absolute evil seeking its own benefit contradictory and absurd. Simplicius also criticized the Manichaeans for their attempt to attribute the cause of evil to an independent principle, thus avoiding attributing it to a deity. He argued that the Manichaeans' position was nonsensical, as it implied that the good willingly exposed itself to the influence of the opposing power and suffered losses in the process. Simplicius maintained that a truly absolute good would not engage in such a fight, as it is beyond the reach of anything bad. Moreover, Simplicius accused the Manichaeans of depriving humans of their ethical responsibility by attributing their bad actions solely to the influence of an eternal, powerful principle of evil. He believed that by doing so, they undermined human self-determination and accountability. Simplicius' philosophical stance against the Manichaeans highlights his commitment to a monistic worldview, where evil is seen as a lack of good rather than an independent force. His insights remind us to seek understanding and insight in our actions, recognizing that wrong decisions and wickedness often stem from a lack of awareness rather than an inherent evil nature. In the ancient city of Cilicia, a philosopher named Simplicius pondered the mysteries of the soul. He believed that true evil did not reside in the external world, but rather within the depths of one's own mind. Simplicius understood that the immortal soul was of utmost importance, while the mortal body was merely temporary. According to Simplicius, the only truly bad things were negative mental attitudes. He believed that these attitudes could be eliminated through knowledge and a philosophical way of life. For him, the key to overcoming evil lay in understanding the nature of the soul and applying this understanding to ethical living. Simplicius recognized that the world was filled with imperfections and decay. However, he saw these processes as necessary and even beautiful when viewed from a higher perspective. He believed that physical deficiencies were limited to the earthly realm, where the cycle of birth, change, and death allowed for such imperfections to arise. Within this worldview, Simplicius saw the potential for individuals to rise above their circumstances and choose the good that aligned with their natural disposition. He emphasized that humans were not helpless victims of evil, but rather had the power to shape their own destinies through their thoughts and actions. Simplicius' philosophy offers us valuable insights for navigating our daily lives. It reminds us that the true source of evil lies within ourselves and can be overcome through self-awareness and a commitment to living a virtuous life. By understanding the nature of our souls and embracing a philosophical way of life, we have the potential to eliminate negativity and cultivate a sense of inner peace and harmony.
Do you want to explore more philosophers? Who do you want to see featured next? Subscribe and leave a comment below to let me know. I'll see you in the next video.